Oh, I forgot to close the gate. That was my
You
fault.
forgot to close the hen.
Hi, darling.
What's up?
How's it going? That's good. Put your hand on that so you don't bump your head. That's very clever. Smart. Smart kid.
Did you wanna? Thank you.
Oh, look at that.
Did you wanna go finish the food?
Look at that. A little Lego man.
Do you wanna bring me the
Or
remote
something
control?
like a man.
Go get the remote.
Oh, there's no film on. Oh my god. There's no film on for the kids in the background.
The remote is over there, down there. Bring it. I've got sunshine in my pocket.
She doesn't want to pick it up.
Because it's not on the floor.
Right. Well, that makes perfect sense. I'm also going to need to find the mouse. Because when the kids start playing with the mouse, stuff moves around on the screen here. And the mouse is a remote.
Okay.
Can you bring me the mouse, darling? It's just on the edge there. It's on the edge of the couch. Darling, could you bring me the mouse, please? It's on the edge of the couch there. Oh, dear.
I'll get it.
No. No, she said. She said she can't bring it to me. Well, we're recording. No questions. No comments. Unless the flat is on fire, or your head is on fire, or something like that. You going to be eating? No. Your fingers are going to be all greasy.
No.
I know where she gets it from. This oppositional, defiant, disordered behavior. Glow. Dude, it's has it frozen already?
Yes. Didn't even start.
Oh, genius! Look at that.
Ah!
Facebook almost rocks. Although it did stop all by itself during the last episode.
That was so
the last recording.
That was so suspenseful.
Suspenseful is not a word.
It was so suspenseful.
It should be a word. It's not a word.
I just made it a word.
It's not a word.
I just created it.
Well, you can't.
It is a word that has
You can't.
has not yet been
You have
codified.
to write to the Oxford, Cambridge English.
It's an
dictionary
unofficial
people.
word. It's an underground word. It's a black market word.
An underground word.
Yes.
Like coal. There's an underground word.
Yeah.
Like minor. There's an underground word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like natural gas.
Suspenseful is not a word.
It should be.
Oh, it should be, because full of suspense.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what's the point of saying full of suspense when you can just say suspenseful?
Have you ever noticed that the word awful has the opposite meaning of what it should have?
Yes, I have, because you've mentioned it the other day.
Oh, did I?
During the practical parenting.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Am I repeating myself?
You are. You're like my
How
grandfather.
completely boring if I repeat myself.
Yeah.
Is Will intentionally trying to make as much noise as possible at the kitchen table?
No, it's just Will being Will. He's not doing it intentionally. His body moves all by itself.
I saw. I read a post about it.
Just move all the time, you know.
It's not good, right? I saw a post about that actually. Apparently, sitting on a Fitball stops that.
Because you can bounce.
Because you can move and the body gets used to correcting itself. And so it trains the body not to fidget.
Well, why do you think he loved his fidget spinner so much?
Because
he could fidget.
Well, if he loved it so much.
Where is it?
I
know it broke, and then he got frustrated.
But there were 3 fidget spinners, so
and
that's
then
not.
He's put it all in his
excuse.
backpack, and I think he's left it all in his backpack and forgot about it.
Well, that's...
Yeah, where did you put them?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know where he put them.
Exactly. Yeah, fit ball, stress ball, things like that. Maybe just give him potatoes and the potato peeler, and he can just peel potatoes.
No, because he almost cut his finger off last time.
Yeah, but that was when he was peeling an apple.
With the safety peeler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beware of those things that are supposed to make everything better. Hey, what was that at 2:00 in the morning?
That was Jasmine crying. I don't know. She just woke up and she started to scream in her bed. And, she did the usual, I'm crying and nothing can cheer me up.
By the way, welcome to the Practical Parenting Podcast, if you've just joined us.
Yeah, hi.
We always forget to do an introduction and we think everybody knows. But they should, but they don't.
And I got to her bed, right?
Okay.
And I lied down with her in her bed, but she kept screaming. And I just got this feeling that she might be scared or something. Right, so I asked...
Scared of what?
I don't know, so I...
Apparently kids don't get scared of the dark until between the ages of 5 and 7, according to some nonsense post that I was reading.
She was scared to death the other day when she was lying
She wasn't scared to death, she's still alive.
Yes, but she was lying in her bed, remember?
Right.
Well, it wasn't
Remember,
the
she's
other
always
day.
lying in our bed.
She was lying in her... It was when she still used to sleep in her bed.
Our bed.
Yes.
50-50 now.
And... she woke up and she was scared. She was screaming, and after she kind of calmed down and could communicate.
Where was she? In our bed or in
our bed?
She was in our bed.
And she pointed at the stand, the thing where you hang your shirts, right? And you had the hoodie hang on it. He has a black hoodie, and the stand is like for sewing, right?
You know what I'm going to do?
It's like a contour of a person.
I'm gonna get one of the kids' masks.
Shut up.
And I'm gonna get a hoodie, right?
Anyway, and he hung his hoodie by the hood on the head of the thing, right? And it's just like a wire.
As you do, because that's what it's for.
Contour, yeah. And so this thing had a shirt, right? And then it had a hoodie on.
For people listening to the podcast, you're missing the visual description here.
And it looked like the Dementor from Harry Potter, right? It was pretty freaky in the dark when you looked at it in the dark.
The Dementor just looks like the Scream character from that weird painting.
Yeah.
Which then became the Weird Films.
Anyway, so this black hooded silhouette with no face, right?
You make it sound pretty freaky.
It was pretty freaky. I just looked at it and I knew instantly that she was scared of it.
Look, it's no more scary than seeing your mother.
Shut up. And it's, so I took the hoodie off and she stopped screaming and she calmed down.
You took it off. You were wearing it. It was you.
I took it off the thing.
Oh. And she stopped screaming.
Yeah.
So she woke up and
she said thank you. Because she says thank you every time I do something for her.
Yeah?
So sweet.
That's very nice.
It's like I change her nappy and she says
thank you. That doesn't explain why she was screaming in her own bed.
Anyway, so she was screaming in her own bed, so I came and then she kept screaming and then I said, would you like to come in our bed? Because I thought, that might calm her down. And she said, yes. So I took her in our bed and that didn't calm her down.
That just escalated things because that woke me screaming. Up.
Well, yeah.
I was woken up by our daughter screaming in my ear.
Yeah.
As loud as she possibly could.
And then she calmed down eventually, and then she kind of got up again and started crying and calmed down eventually, and she did that about 5 times. And then she fell asleep in the end. But I was thinking that maybe she was hungry. But I didn't want to suggest any food to her because, when she's in that state and you suggest something, she just starts screaming louder. So I just shut up and cuddled.
You seem to do quite well in the end.
Yeah.
And managed to get her to calm down because it is.
I managed
quite
not
a
to kick
difficult
you
process.
as well when you were bitching about it. Which I was very inclined to do.
I was wondering why you didn't just stay with her in her bed and why you brought her back.
Because she said she wanted to calm, and I thought that it might calm her down. And then I thought if I pick her up again and take her back into her room, she's just gonna go completely nuts, and climb the walls and stuff.
What is she, Spider Baby?
Yeah.
How does she manage to climb the walls?
So yeah, that was quite tough, Rob.
Okay. I'm just checking the streams.
Yes,
yeah,
Juju.
To
Yes, we're
to
talking
see
about
that, see
you.
that we're going out live.
You were screaming last
Okay,
night, darling.
Okay. Okay. There we are.
It's
We're going
sunny.
out live. That's
Well,
cool.
it's not
That's
exactly
cool.
sunny.
Thank you very much, Facebook, for the technology, and Sony for building the mobile phone, and Asus for giving us this computer, and all of those people that we've never met who've built all of this stuff, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't.
It's sunny?
It's sunny. It's sunny. It's
Sort of.
I know that in this video we look like we're in California, but or somewhere else
It's pretty
sunny.
bleak,
But
actually.
it's actually dark, cold, wet, windy. What other dismal adjective?
It's that
Any
kind
kind of
of-
dismal
It's that
adjective.
kind
you
of
can-
cold. It's that kind of wet and damp coldness that gets through your bones and just.
Yeah, I was out for a jog and people were looking at me like, "Oh look,
he
look,
nuts?"
a madman,
Yeah,
a madman."
I'm looking at you like that
What?
often. Often.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. Which reminds me, mental note. Must find a way to dry clothes now that dryer is broken.
Yeah,
Mental note.
I
There we go.
contacted the people in the.
You contacted the people. That's super cool.
In the
That you
power.
need-
I contacted
wrote
the
it-
authorities.
Good.
Hmm.
Messages to God. Right. That's nice.
What's up?
What's up, Jesse?
She wants to connect the charger for some reason.
Yeah. Will. Just
Well,
no response.
wakey wakey.
No. He's doing what? He's working. You're
He's
looking.
looking.
You're watching. Will.
He's looking the telly.
You watch things that move and look at things that are stationary in general. Right.
He's looking the film.
Licking. Hmm.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
You are stationary.
You have a shower today.
Yes.
Okay. Must be me then.
Did you?
It must.
Man.
You brought that food, didn't you?
I
That
did.
It does actually kind of
Look horrible.
make me feel hungry. It doesn't look horrible at all. No, I'm not hungry. That doesn't mean I am hungry. Look, that looks like a piece of fried rubble from World War II.
It's I would eat it if I didn't have the microphone.
Don't.
Um,
You're gonna get everything greasy. Look,
It's
your
a-
hands are all greasy now.
it's okay. It's natural greasiness.
My grease is natural. I'll have you know. What does that mean? Natural.
Means
grease?
it's not motor oil.
Hopefully you're not frying the food in motor oil.
No.
No, that would not be too healthy. Right.
Right.
Did
What
you
do we
see-
have here today?
Did you send me that email?
I did.
Right. I haven't checked it or opened it. Anyway.
Nice, nice.
I put out an offer today. For free coaching, as you know, because you proofread it.
Yes.
Yes. And then I went out for a jog and thought, right, when I come back, I will have these responses from people who want coaching. And
Well, I guess if you didn't know
I-
better.
I came back, checked my email. There were no responses to it. So, if you're out there and you happen to watch this, go to my Facebook page. You can pick up a free coaching session just by visiting my Facebook page and clicking on special offer. There you go. You can get that right now.
He's good at coaching. He coaches me all the time. Sometimes you feel like you could punch him, but all in all,
She would be good if she
the
listened.
results are good.
All in all, looking back over my life in general, taking all things into consideration. Right, sorry. Right,
It's a pain having a coach for your
coach.
partner, because he ends up coaching you all the time.
I'm just coaching myself, really. It's all this kind of it's all personal management, you know. It's all, sorry, I wanted to see the little trick. Sorry. Will said, "Do you want to see a little trick?" And I was like, "Oh, I want to see a little trick."
I'm
that
not.
got me involved.
I'm not. See, marketing.
Do you want to?
Marketing.
Do you want to see a trick?
Next time we should just put lots of letters across the screen.
Rather than let me show you
this. Do you want to see
this.
a little trick?
Do you want to see a trick? That's.
Yeah. Do you want to see a trick? Parenting trick.
Everybody. Parenting tricks. I know
pull
something.
the baby out of the hat.
How did the baby get into the hat in the first place would be the question.
Chop your toddler into 3 parts.
Stop.
Put it back together. Make your teenager disappear.
Forever. Are we? Or just for the weekend. Long one. Are we going to talk about? We'll talk about a lot of stuff. I'm going to talk about Dayna Martin because it's on my mind, right? The unschooling guru, yeah, who's just had the physical enhancement operation, and
the boob job.
Yeah, I was trying not to say that. Thank you.
I'm just being
I was actually just leading you into it, so I thought.
As women have no problem saying the words boob and job together.
Right. Well, that makes me think of other kinds of jobs. Anyway, so there we go. Right. Yeah, I don't want to degrade the conversation, even though I already have. But did you know the Scottish word for poo was jobby? Did you know that?
Yeah.
He's done a little jobby.
Is that why?
What?
Well, there was a.
Where is this going?
Thomas the Tank Engine movie, right?
Called The Little Jobby.
You're gonna love this.
Jobby's Mistake.
There is this Thomas the Tank Engine movie, right? When they were.
You've seen them all.
They were. That Thomas was supposed to go and look for special wood to build a station, the train station.
Joby
logs.
Joby logs.
Yes,
weren't we puzzling for ages? What the hell's a joby log? Doby log, doggy log,
Joby,
loggy dog.
Joby log.
Joby log. Oh my God. Anyway, yes, we did go through a Thomas the Tank Engine phase.
We had everything phase, I think. There's no phase that we haven't
there is in Western society there is a phase of childhood called the Thomas phase, I think, where there are lots of trains and toy train sets, and
there's cars phase as well.
Do you remember I got into a fight with the guy at the car boot sale in Scotland over the Thomas the Tank Engine trains?
Did you?
Do you remember that?
I can't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No.
Because the guy was selling all these second-hand Thomas the Tank Engine toys, right? And it was the car boot sale, so it's like a car park, and everyone opens the back of their car and sells the stuff out the back of their car. If you don't know what a car boot sale is, that's what it is. And so this guy at a table, and he put all these toy trains on the table, and he was like doing his marketing, and hey, come on over, we got this stuff here. And he said, when they all work. He's talking about the toys, and he said they all work most of the time. And I just happened to be walking past as he said that.
You're triggered by these things.
Well, I'm triggered by idiots. So it means I'm constantly triggered because the world has no shortage of these people, and I think they should put them all on the space station and just see what happens. And
well, the problem is, who
space station's too small.
Who decides who's an idiot? I mean, somebody might think you're one and send you to the space station as well, and then you'd end up where you wouldn't want to end up.
And every time the conversation ends up with the phrase "end up," that I end up thinking about something completely different because Will thought that end up meant vomit when he was young.
Yeah.
And
so you just use it in that context.
I feel like I'm going to end up.
Mom, I ended up all over the sofa.
And
Your coffee's splashing.
I just spilled my coffee over myself. Anyway, the guy was the guy said, you know, they all of them work most of the time. It's like, well, what about the rest of the time? And he looked at me and he started shouting.
Yeah, what did he say?
I can't remember what he said. And I said, well, look, you realize that means some of them don't work. And he started getting really aggressive. And my mother...
And he almost ended up punching you.
Well, I was like, I'm not backing down from this because I'm not wrong.
What did your mom say?
My mother was like, stop it. I'm like, but I didn't do anything wrong. I just pointed out to people that if they buy something from him, that they've been fooled by his marketing.
Yeah.
Right? And... or that they need to double check what they buy. And my mother's like, get away from there. Get away from there. And then she started apologizing to the guy for my behavior. And
these misbehaved kids.
Yeah, and I don't know. Sometimes you walk towards the fire, don't you? And the result is not cool, and your friends need to have the water ready. Anyway,
maybe she just wanted to save you from a actual physical fight.
Yeah, because people are too scared to live in reality. Anyway, there we go. How did we get onto? We were
Thomas the Tank Engine.
I know we got into it through the use of a word, and then there was another story, but I can't remember where that was going. So it would be lost forever.
Yes.
In the mists of conversations. I forgot to close the gate.
Did we
reach over
start
there?
by saying
Can you reach over there, please, and just grab that stool and bring it back over so that the kids don't wander?
Did we start by saying suspenseful?
Suspenseful.
Well done.
Oh, do you want us to move it back, darling? Yeah. Okay, so that she can come here. Okay. We'll move it back. We'll move the stool back, darling, so that you can come in here whenever you want to. You just have to be very careful with your head so that you don't hit it on anything. Remember to put your hand on the sharp part of the table
cool.
there. Wow.
Never go.
Yeah.
Yes.
No cables. Don't pull the cables, darling. Please don't pull the cables.
Do you want to come up?
Because it's all designed by me, which means that if you sneeze, everything might turn off.
You can't sit on that, sweetie, because the cables are sitting on that.
That's a table, darling. And because that's built by me, that'll probably fall apart as well.
I can lift you up if you want.
Yeah.
Careful.
Okay, so here we go. We you have to make sure she doesn't grab the microphone like she did last time. Remember? Okay. Right, because she'll probably rip it off. And that wouldn't be too cool. Would it? Another job.
Too cool.
Something else for me to fix.
Too cool.
Right.
Oh. Careful, darling, with your foot.
Well, we're trying to do a podcast here. The rule is, as we agreed before the start, that you
shush yourself.
Because you've got lots of other things.
It's over there, next to the balloons.
Period of time. And his second favorite activity is standing in front of the monitor so that no one can see what is on the monitor except him. His third favorite activity is sneaking around the flat, thinking that people can't see him.
We have to say well done to the kids today because they tidied up their room all by themselves.
They did
it was
something fantastic.
Their initiative, actually. Zora just got up and said, "We're going to tidy up our room," and she kind of got Will to join her. And
we can see who wears the trousers in this family.
She bossed him around a bit, and they worked together.
Thank you for the. I swear something just went shoom right across the screen there on Facebook. And you missed it.
And it wasn't your juice.
Well,
It wasn't
I
Jasmine.
almost dropped it in surprise there.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna. But you're gonna have to.
Is someone actually watching?
Somebody actually watched and gave a. I don't know if it was a heart or a thumbs up, or maybe it was one of those angry faces. I don't know. But if they could do it again, just so that Yanka stays happy.
Thanks, guys.
And I think the more likes you give something, the more opportunity there is that it'll get higher up Facebook's ranking and get watched by other people, and share if you care, and all of the other good stuff.
Yes.
Pause. Right.
Totally.
Pause.
What do we have here today, Daddy-o?
Today, bad parenting. Right.
Yes. Finally, something I can talk about.
That's what we do regularly.
That's what everybody does sometimes.
Yeah. What this is about is children's responses. So as we continually talk about the emotion that your child is expressing is generally the result of the child's understandings of past situations that have occurred. It's not completely orientated in what is happening in the moment, but it's about what the child has learned over time and through observation of the parents' activities. And we often think that the child's reaction is the be-all and end-all of the situation, but there's often something behind the mask of the emotion. It's like that little Halloween kind of analogy there. Right. So what does that all mean when we put it all together? Let's take an example. So if your child, for example, intentionally disturbs you, Mom. It's because sometimes, not always, sometimes, because the parent is not physically affectionate enough. They're not giving the child enough physical contact time, which is very, very interesting, because we watched a documentary, which I think was entitled Bad Parenting, wasn't it? Was that what it was called? I can't remember now. That's terrible. You posted it on your Facebook,
Extremely
right?
Bad Parenting or something like that.
What a great title. That would make a great podcast. Right. Backwards Parenting. Didn't you post it on your Facebook?
I did.
No, you posted it in a group.
I posted it in a group, I think. Yeah.
Anything you post in a group, you should also always post on your own Facebook feed, because you lose it if you only post it in other people's feed.
If you don't use it. Thank you, darling.
Other people's feeds.
I just got paid by Jazz.
10 cents.
Yeah.
That's the only cents you're going to get around here.
Did you get 20 more?
No. 3 more and you can get a biscuit, right? There's probably 3 more under the couch. Anyway.
Probably.
So this the child's response of always disturbing you is and it is the child's intent to seek physical affection. And I mentioned that documentary, and this child had very, very, very bad, sometimes violent behavior. And what the documentary uncovered was that the child wanted physical contact from the mother and wasn't getting it. But neither the mother nor the child could express that.
It wasn't just the physical contact. The child didn't feel loved because there was no love. Because the mother didn't feel that she loves her child. I mean, she was talking about her daughter as an it, right? And she said that she hated her daughter, so of course her daughter was aggressive. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I would say it's not only physical affection. I would say it's one-to-one attention as well that they're seeking when they constantly disturb you. In fact, a friend wrote. It wasn't a friend, actually. It was somebody.
Some random person.
Some random person that I thought was my friend, but now I remember it wasn't. Wrote on the forum about.
Do you ever find yourself saying, oh, I had a conversation the other day, and then thinking, no, I actually read it.
Yeah, sometimes. Because then
Yeah,
a conversation just starts going in my head.
Well, you do.
Yeah.
You had a conversation on the internet,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Or like through some kind of chat,
Yeah.
but it wasn't actually a real conversation. Yeah.
But I think it's real enough. I mean, if you have answers, right? I mean, you questions, answers,
Yeah,
it's reciprocal.
Recess.
Sorry, I'm just,
Regress.
my talking instruments are not working today. Anyhow,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and she was
That
like,
explains a lot.
she was like, well, my kid like runs into the middle of the road, even though I told them not to like a million times. And and you know, I was walking with a friend, and I was talking to the friend, and he just kept, you know, throwing himself on the ground, and he wasn't crying or screaming, just walking the opposite direction, and sitting down and throwing himself on the ground and stuff, and just wasn't generally very happy. And she realized throughout the conversation that it was because the child was seeking attention because she was talking to the friend, and she wasn't involving the child. You know, so it could be not enough physical affection. It can be not enough attention. I think at a very young age, those two kind of merge, right?
Yeah, attention.
Because kids
can
are
be
very
physical and
physical.
non-physical.
Yeah,
Although
'cause kids are
physical is
generally
probably more important.
very physical. I think in the early, you know, toddler and preschool age. So later on as well, but not as much, I think.
Well, you see that with Will, the oldest, who's very much I think a
Cuddly.
loving kind of character, right? And
He's all
I think
cuddly
that
and mommy, let's go kiss.
darling, be careful on the edge of the table here.
What's going on, chicken?
You cut your finger yesterday, didn't you, darling?
Yes.
And why are you sticking it into Mummy's MP3 player? Is that going to charge your finger in some kind of way? Or?
It's gonna make it sing. Wah, 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 wah.
The MP3 player is now a crocodile.
I'm going to eat you.
Okay, so what?
This child is seeking physical affection.
Do you want to come up and join us? Would you like to come and join us, darling? Okay, we're trying to have a conversation here. This is supposed to be a podcast. We're supposed to communicate and talk
Yes.
about parenting.
Yes.
You're just
Sorry.
You've drifted off into your own little universe there, where you're just
I was
kind
just
of
thinking, you
staring
know,
into
what am
space.
I?
What is that?
What am I going to do with this little girl who's? What I was thinking about. What does she want? What does she need? What do you need, darling? Would you like to come up and have a look?
Yes, but don't grab the mic. Since you say to all the kids because they go like, "Oh, look, a mic."
This girl is super heavy now, aren't you?
Super heavy.
What did you have for
She's
lunch?
Super big.
What did you have for lunch?
I like this T-shirt. Most people don't like this color, but I like this color. I think this color is really nice.
Yeah.
Very
I like
autumny.
it too.
Like the leaves on the trees.
Mustard. It's a
Right
mustard
now.
color.
You can't stop playing with that either, can you?
Because first it's too far, and then it's too close, and then
It
I'm
doesn't go
touching it with
anywhere.
my mouth when I'm talking, and I don't want to
Doesn't-
make it go just because I'm
Don't
touching
eat
it
it.
with my lips.
Don't eat the mic. Oh,
What's
dear.
new?
What's up, darling? Okay, we're going to have to talk about parenting.
Hungry.
Did you eat your
food.
butternut squash patty?
Yeah, but I'm still hungry.
Would you like
eat
to have another one?
Eat another one. Then.
There's also
Darling,
a
you're gonna
bowl
have to
full
wait
of
until we
lettuce
finish the podcast.
on the table.
Yes.
Go and have some lettuce.
Darling, you're going to have to wait. That's the way it goes.
Either
Yes.
go and find something or wait for us to finish, alright?
Mhm. You
Alright?
see, that's what happens when we don't put the gate up and protect ourselves here. Okay, well, she can cuddle, but we have to have this conversation.
Yes, we're
okay?
having this conversation. You can move on to the next topic.
Yes, okay,
Okay?
okay. Right,
Just
I'm trying to move on to the next topic. I'm also trying to help you at the same
girl
time.
is super
by making
heavy.
sure that everything's okay here. Right. Second part, bad parenting. Point 2. Did you want to make any other points about the documentary?
No.
'Cause- no. No, you didn't. Right. Okay. Right. If your child has a tendency to avoid the truth, it tends to mean that you as a parent perhaps overreacted to the child's mistakes in the past.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Not only that, I think that's it's my thing. My thing.
My thing.
The thing with punishment, right, is punishment for mistakes. Especially, I don't like punishment at all, but especially when something is a mistake and it hasn't been done on purpose, right? I think it's completely inappropriate, right? Like, say...
What do you mean by it?
Punishment.
Punishment is inappropriate when?
If someone makes a mistake.
What about discipline?
Okay, I would say it this way. If kids are running around and one of the kids bumps into another kid, right, and the other kid ends up crying, that hasn't been done on purpose. That was an accident, okay? So the kid who bumped the other kid should not be punished because they were just having fun. He wasn't focused. Things happen, okay? But if that child came to the other child with the intention to hurt them and whacked them over the head with a baseball bat, right, then I think I would consider punishment, even though I would rather try communication and, kind of sort of go like...
Okay, so you're saying that...
hell, why did you do that?
You're saying that intention is very important, yes?
I think intention is very important, yes. I also think that when a kid comes to you and tells you about the problem... tells you about the mistake that they made. Oh my gosh, there's something on.
They need...
Go check it out. Then you shouldn't punish them. You should honor the fact that the child came to talk to you. You can express if it's something serious that the kid has done. You can of course express that you're not very happy about it, or that you're concerned, or that it wasn't appropriate and so on. But I wouldn't lose it and go and punish them because next time they're just not going to tell you.
It's symbolic of trust, I think. That if the child is coming to you and sharing information with you, it's a symbol that they trust you in some way, and you need to honor that as a parent and an adult.
Yeah. Because you don't want them to not tell you things, even the bad things. Well, more, especially the bad things, right? Because then they would be in danger, in a situation of danger, and they will not tell you because they may think that they're guilty for something, right? Like, say they're being harassed and at school by someone or whatever, and that someone lets them believe that it's their own fault. Right, and they wouldn't tell you because they would be afraid of you.
In essence, the overreaction in the past creates an underreaction in the present. In the activity on the other side. So as a parent, when the parent overreacts in the past, what happens in the present is the child doesn't share information.
Avoidance, yes. The child tries to avoid the consequences.
Okay. Yeah, the child doesn't want to go there, doesn't want to be there again.
But it's wrong. But it's you've got a complete wrong mindset then, right, in the kid, because they try to avoid the consequences, but in real life you cannot avoid consequences for your actions, right? So I don't know. It leaves the child basically not being able to deal with. Or take responsibility for their actions, for their mistakes, or to deal with consequences for their actions.
Yeah, you can't do anything without appreciating, understanding, or respecting consequences.
Yeah, so I think you want to give them tools in such situations. You don't want to punish them, but you want to give them tools how to deal with the natural consequences of their behaviors. Right. So if a child has a fight at school and punches somebody and gives them a bloody nose and then comes home and says, "Oh my gosh, this happened, I did this," and go into trouble, then you're not going to go, well, you're grounded for a week, because that's not going to help, right?
Yeah. At the same time,
you're going to think about what happened, why did it happen, how can we solve it, let's go together and solve it. I'll show you how to solve it if you don't know by yourself. If you know, give me suggestions. What do you think would be the appropriate thing to do? Blah, 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 blah.
Well said. Well said. Absolutely. Right. Remember, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat on the live Facebook forum, or if you catch the video on YouTube, you can write them under the video or under the podcast. Wherever you find us, you can leave a message. Moving on. Bad parenting, issue number 3.
I don't like the word bad parenting.
I don't like it. I don't like the term, actually. Let's change
because
it
I think people
conditional parenting.
I think people make these parenting mistakes when they are too self-centered. And I don't mean it as an absolute, as, oh, he's a self-centered person. I mean, sometimes you're in a situation when you're concentrating on yourself. Maybe you're thinking about something. Maybe you've got problems that you need to solve, and you're just engulfed in your own world. And when the kids comes at you with crisis or something, right? You don't get out of your own world. You stay there. And you don't connect with the kid.
Yeah, engulfed and overwhelmed, I think, are 2 words that describe how a lot of parents feel.
Yeah. So say child comes and disturbs you. When you're in the state of self-centeredness and the child comes to disturb you, you automatically react like somebody's invading my space, somebody's attacking me, basically, right? If you're only thinking about yourself and the effect on yourself, and therefore you can't respond to the child and what they need because you're not connected.
It's like, what are you doing in my world?
Yeah, basically. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad parenting or a bad parent or a self-centered person, but sometimes we're in situations where that happens. Some people are in those situations more often. Some are even in that. Some even live in that state of mind. Okay, I mean, you wouldn't believe. You can read it on the mummy forums, right?
Oh, I don't get involved in internet chats. Number 1, I don't have time. Number 2, no one listens to reason. And
sometimes people do. Sometimes when people ask questions, they actually do listen to the answers. Okay. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just want validation from others. It's not really an open question, but sometimes they do listen to reason.
I don't know. People have complained that I don't comment enough on Facebook forums. The point is that I don't see any point in pointing out how ridiculously silly a lot of the stuff is. So, I mean, if you can't actually realize yourself your own silliness sometimes, then then you react negatively when other people point it out. It's like, why did you ask the question in the first place?
It's not about changing. It's not about changing the mind of the people who are being silly and giving bad advice.
You can't.
Because you can't. It's about the fact that people who are open and curious about the topic are going to read your answers and they're going to think, wait, there might be a point in this might be a way to go. I'm going to explore more, and they'll start Googling, and people like that exist.
Some people can over time transform their parenting. On the other hand,
like I did.
On the other hand, people a lot of the time tend to think that, sharply changing direction will solve their problem. And that doesn't work either, because you don't have the foundation in place. You don't have the background in place. You can't just suddenly from one week to the next week change your lifestyle and habits and expect everything to flow smoothly.
No, of course, it's a thing of work.
How long did that? We watched that. So back to that parenting documentary that we watched, right? What did it take? It took 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
For them to get feedback on the development of their parenting technique and to realize they were making progress.
I think they saw the pediatrician after like 6 months or something. No, or was it 3 months? I can't remember.
It was between 12 and 16 weeks, I believe. And they were in contact with a coach daily.
Yeah.
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 It was very interesting. The coach.
And then
only-
weekly later on, they had
Yeah.
weekly calls.
Yeah. It was very interesting how little the coach was actually involved in their daily life.
Yeah.
Right. The aim of the coach was to be almost non-existent.
Yeah. I like the fact that he didn't meet their child.
Oh yeah.
Because then I think the point of him not meeting the child was to make sure was because the child was not the problem.
Oh, I think there's another point there that that the child needs to know the parents are the authority.
Yeah.
If the child knows that the parents are getting their
Advice from somebody
parenting
else.
information from another person, there's then a complex question in the child's mind. I'm not sure the child is old enough
Yeah.
to understand that the parents are doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. The child might just think, oh, they're just doing this because somebody told them, They might think, oh, my mother doesn't really love me. She's just doing it because
so
somebody told her.
He's not.
Mhm.
He's not standing in the way of the
Relationship.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
which
It's a good point.
is key.
That's
So,
super.
He keeps his distance,
Mhm.
keeps to the plan, stays supportive.
And he doesn't
Really
need to.
nice.
You don't need to meet the kid. You just get the story from the parents, and just the way they talk about the child is going to tell you tons.
Yeah. Well, I've done this with my clients as well. I've said, look,
I
here's the
keep
information.
looking at that.
Here's
food.
what you need to do. We'll make a plan.
Mhm.
You go away and do that, and then come back to me, and when you're ready, and
Mhm.
we'll take the next step together. And people are really confused by this. It's like because they kind of want me to hold their hand through each step,
Mhm.
and I don't want to be holding their hand through each step. I want to see them succeed, but it's their success.
Mhm.
So that I think they need to feel that they've done it themselves at the end of the day. No, it's nice to get help, but at the end of the day, you want to remove the supports so the person can stand on their own.
What's that? Well,
Eventually. Well, you know the rules. Is there an emergency? Is there an emergency? What's the emergency?
I was playing on my tablet
You were-
charger, but all of a sudden it turned off and there was no battery there, even though I had the charger on.
Oh, well, the tablet's turned off. Well, you have to leave it off. Well, then that's what happens. If you don't, if you plug it in and you don't check whether or not it's charging and it doesn't charge, then you have to live with the consequences of the fact that it will turn off if you don't check it. Nothing happens automatically in the world. I keep repeating this. Everything is a result of your own personal awareness of what's happening in the world around about you. You cannot leave life to things happening automatically. It's necessary to check and control it. Will, you're talking over the top of me. I'm finished now, because she's just hit me.
because you were rambling.
Will, is there anything else you'd like to communicate to us at the moment?
It usually gives
Mhm.
me a warning that it'll
Okay.
shut down.
Is it possible that we could have this conversation? Perhaps you could plug it in on a different charger, in a different place, in a different room, and you could leave it, and we can have this conversation once we're finished here. Is that okay?
The charger works,
None of the chargers in the flat work. Is that what you're saying?
except for that one.
Well, why don't you plug it into that one?
It is plugged in.
Great.
Oh gosh, the
Whoa, whoa.
problems
Whoa,
with the tablets and the chargers.
Is there only one charger? Is there only one charger cable that's working now?
I don't think so.
All of mine are fine.
I think the
I've got,
chargers
like,
that are in
5
the
and they're all
kids
fine.
room are working.
Yeah.
Haven't
Yeah.
seen a problem with that.
Well, the rules are the rules. Thank you very much. Please don't. He's not banging his head off the wall to try to get attention. Will.
Find find something else to do.
Will.
What are you gonna?
Will.
You're gonna knock the house down. You're gonna make a hole in the wall.
He's gonna make a hole in his head.
You're gonna leave a bloody patch.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to paint it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Oh
I
my God.
understand him. I understand you, Will. I know it's frustrating.
Yeah, we understand it's frustrating, but it is the consequence of not
Sometimes you just have
checking
to
the processes.
deal with the frustration
Yeah.
by banging your head off the wall.
There we go. So
Yeah. What's the next? What's the
you
next?
can go cuddle his sister.
You
Okay,
crazy.
okay, right.
What's the next one?
If your child is banging his head off the wall, what it means is, oh no, sorry, that's a different one. Right. I think these should be called parenting conditions because they'll start with if, and if is a conditional sentence. If your child had poor self-esteem or has poor self-esteem, the reason is because you advise more than you encourage. And advise is telling them what to do, and encouragement is helping them to discover their own way. And this apparently, according to psychologists and studies, is one of the causes of poor self-esteem. Poor self-esteem, and parents wonder where they're making the mistake because they're, telling the child all the right things to do, but they're not realizing that, childhood is a journey of self-discovery. So.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. I'm quiet because I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it, yeah.
I thought you were listening to see if he was still banging his head off.
No. I'm thinking about it because it's something that I can relate with, too. Blah. Yeah. Advice. I think advice is often just extremely frustrating for the child. Like what you just did.
I know. I realized as I was reading it that I had just done absolutely, completely, and totally the wrong thing.
Yeah.
In that context, but there are the times where I say to Will, "What do you think you should do now?"
Yes, there are times. Absolutely, I think we can.
You want to question that brings in reflection to the child. So I mean, obviously, what I said was far too authoritative in that situation, and
it was a bit of a preachy kind of thing. Preachy.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
But I mean, I think that sometimes you can't.
Peach tea.
Sometimes you just have to do. Sometimes you just have to do that because you're human, right? But
I also have to do it because
knowing that
we're in the middle of a podcast, and if I don't make the point to him several times, he will continue down the same road. And the whole aim of my conversation was to block that road, so that we could get this done. And then you should have. I was just deferring the problem. I know that I still have to deal with it. I was just deferring it to a later time.
Also the thing you should have. I'm quite torn in that aspect. When you tell kids, oh, you should have done this, or oh, you should have whatever. You should have listened to me. It's like on one hand, it's really frustrating for the kid because they're not stupid. They realize that they should have done that, right? They don't need you to tell them that lots of the times. But at the same time, you want to make sure that they understand how they could have prevented the problem, right?
Step back, because you can't make the assumption that they know, but you can ask them if they know, and then realize from that point that they did know.
Yeah, I guess asking would be the best approach. You can't rather than saying that you should have.
I have made the mistake too many times of assuming people know something that's so completely obvious that everyone would know it, and that was a mistake. Always
I'm talking about the other extreme. I'm talking about just assuming they don't know and telling them, oh, you should have done this, and they could just go and bang their head off the wall because they're like, yeah, I know I should have, right?
I know I should have, but it doesn't help me at this point in time.
Exactly.
Bang.
Yeah.
Thump.
So encourage them. So how would you encourage them rather than advise them?
Pure silence.
Because I'm thinking, somebody comes to me. I'm imagining situations.
There are things that I could say.
Yeah.
The things that I could say, like, have you tried it on other chargers? But
you did say that. No.
Well, I did. I got all those things in, right?
Yeah.
To see if it would stimulate him to go and do those things. I mean, if you're looking for the first question that I asked, I mean, you're asking me like, what should be said, and I already said what should be said, which is the reflexive question at the beginning of what do you think we should do now? Or what do you think the next step is? Do you think it's possible to resolve the problem instantly, or do you think it needs time? Do you think that it's extremely important now, or do you think it can wait 30 minutes where it will still be important and we can deal with it then?
Is that encouraging though?
Is that encouragement?
Or is that just postponing the...
That's preaching again, isn't it, really? It's back to the preaching again.
Yeah, because sometimes you ask things and you're preaching. I mean, I remember my mom used to do that.
Okay, let's...
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know what your mother did.
You don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. I don't know. I would get bad results at school, right? And... I would get...
You should study more.
Number 3, and she would say, well, what do you think you should have done, right? I'd be like, I didn't say anything because I would be so pissed off by then, because I knew I knew exactly what she expected me to say, and that just kicked my defiance in, and I just wouldn't say anything because I felt humiliated by that, So it's like...
Do you think there should be some default reflexive questioning that should happen then to encourage? Because it's very much about showing the possibilities without pointing them specifically in the right direction. Right? I mean, you want to... It's like ensuring that... I think it's very important to ensure that the children have the tools that they need. I think it's very important to ensure that children have the logical thinking in place.
Could you maybe ask, well, Will, in that situation, well, what do you think the problem might be? Why do you think that happened?
That would be good.
And then he could start thinking, well, maybe the cable is bad, or maybe a connection is bad, and then we could get to the point to say, we would get to the point where we can say, well, why don't you go and check if the connections are okay, right? Because it might be possible that it's unplugged on the other side, on the other end, if he yanked it when he was connecting it or something,
Is it plugged in?
Yeah, exactly. Did you turn it on and off again?
Yeah, an analysis. To break the problem down into its components, the tablet
of the situation. Maybe focusing on the problem rather than focusing on the child and their actions. Maybe that might be
focusing on the
problem rather than focusing on the child's actions.
Okay, disconnect what happened from the child.
Yeah, because he might feel like you're blaming him if you're asking him questions like, what have you done, right? Or what haven't you done?
What have you done now?
But asking, what do you think might the problem be, is taking it away from his person and basically focusing on what's important.
I have another issue. I mean, all of these questions are really good and require more thought, definitely.
Yeah.
When the conversation started, it wasn't in a neutral place. Right. He was already emotional and upset.
Yes.
And my aim was to neutralize the progression of this emotional state.
That didn't happen. The opposite happened. He started banging his head off the wall. Right. It's not a good sign.
I thought I was quite successful.
What would neutralize it would be if you took off your headphones and you came there and you cuddled him and you said, it's gonna be okay. We'll find out where the problem is.
Once again, silence proves that you're right.
But also sometimes you're in situations where such things are difficult to do because you're in the middle of work, right?
Difficult. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really describe the podcast as work. I also can't describe it as a calling, because I don't agree with those kinds of descriptions.
The fun thing about parenting is that you keep learning and you keep practicing, and you just have to. You've got these skills, right?
Share what you know.
You have these duty. You have these. Just came to me.
It just came to you because I was saying it.
Yes, I know. Anyway,
It just came to me.
you have these things that you know, right? You can write them down, like write down a little note and pop it on the fridge saying, if your child had poor self-esteem, it's because you advise, right? So you can put on the fridge, encourage, don't advise. But still, when you talk,
What was it Will said to me yesterday that was like a drop the mic moment?
I don't know. He says these things very often these days.
Yeah,
And I
I had some problem with something, and he was like, "Have you tried this? Because if you do this and do that, then this will be. Oh no, you better do it today, because if you don't do it,
Oh,
there'll be
yeah,
twice as
that
much
was
to do
great.
tomorrow."
That was great. You came and you were like looking for excuses, right?
I was like, "Oh my God, I've got so much to do today."
You came and you said, I've got about 300 things that I have to do, and I don't want to do anything right now. You were like,
exaggerate.
I don't want to feel like doing anything right now, right? And Will said, well, you better do it, because if you don't, you're going to have twice as much work tomorrow. Yeah, that was really cool. Anyway, what I was going to say.
I was slapped upside the head.
Yeah.
By my
He's
own son.
got that from you, though. That was you talking to yourself.
It's good. It's good. My conscience has separated itself from me, has gone round and on, and is now walking around the flat.
Yeah. Anyway, I was saying that you can put these little rules around you and you can look at them, but still, when you talk, when you act, it requires so much self-control. You have to stop yourself, you have to listen to yourself, you have to rewind, you have to stop before you speak and think about these things, and you just have to practice and practice, because you never worked like that before. Right? I never worked like that before. Okay, maybe if I was a public speaker, I would have, but I never had to think about the exact words that I'm going to use before I say something. Right?
Most people don't think about what comes out of their mouth
Yeah.
before it comes out of their mouth.
Seriously. I thought about things that I was saying so that they make sense when I was discussing something, but I never thought about what I was saying in emotional situations, or how I reacted to some things. And
I was in a mess for the first
I don't know.
30 years of my life with all of that stuff, because I never it's clear, right? It all comes back to that Michael Jackson song "Man in the Mirror," right? I mean, that pretty much spelled it out for everybody what they need to do, and people were like, "Oh, that's a great pop song." It's like, no, you missed the point. You missed the point. All the solutions are in that song.
Yeah.
And when you finally begin to peel off the layers, or unwrap the gift which has been wrapped and rewrapped 100,000 times, you begin slowly to understand that the purpose of words is not to help you get what you want. The purpose of words is to ensure that we can live peaceful lives and resolve issues and assist and help each other. And people are so careless with how they throw them and how they use them, and I'm still working on that in my own life, but I'm at the very least aware of what is going on, which I think puts me in the top 20%, because I reckon 8 out of 10 people don't do that. So
I would like to point out that all of these things that we're reading about kids apply to adults as well. Okay, because adults are all kids. inside.
Still trying to manage the things that happen to them.
Yeah, you've got experience, and you have a higher level of self-control, hopefully, and you have some kind of rationality, right? You have higher awareness, hopefully, when you do. But still, the reactions come. I've got a feeling that the emotional reactions come from the child.
Well, look at it this way.
So
imagine you're driving a car which is 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All the components of all of the parts were built at a time when they were the best components and parts that could be built.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, 20 years later, if you're using the same components and parts, it's just not good enough. So there's a constant need to update your skills, your abilities, your knowledge, your understanding, and to realize things that knowledge and understanding are completely different. The morals and ethics are completely different. All of these words and ideas that people use interchangeably, thinking they're saying the same thing. When you realize that two people in the same situation are actually having two different conversations, not just one. When you break down the elements, when you break down the components. I told the story the other day in the podcast about the pool. Like, I was at the pool and there were three women standing in a circle, all
talking at the same time.
All talking at exactly the same time to each other, and all entirely satisfied that this was a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the world.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is chattering, but so few are listening, and even fewer are listening and are prepared to make corrections, because there's a child inside every adult, the same way that there's an adult inside every child. And it's really important to realize that communicating on the one-to-one level is, I think, one of those keys. I wrote that down in my seven keys of communication, that you have to communicate on the same level.
Did you find out what the problem was?
Jesus Christ! My God, that's the scariest face I've ever seen. My God, he doesn't need a mask for Halloween. He can just creep around like that.
Did you find out what the problem was?
Oh my God. Will's talking. Mm-hmm. Will, did you find a solution to the problem? Did you go and have a look at it?
Now he's got another problem.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not deal with the second problem. Let's go back to the first problem. First things first, one thing at a time. Did you find that it wasn't plugged in properly? Did you find the?
I think it's not plugged in properly.
Oh, okay. Then we'll check it all together. But it was good of you to go back and analyze it and have a look at what was maybe one of the issues there. And we'll come and help you as soon as we're finished here. Okay? Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you very much, Will. Thank you for pointing out the fact that nobody's watching it. Thank you.
I am. Anyway.
It's got the great pirate song in it.
Yeah. But this...
nobody
these
knows what we're
things...
talking...
What? What?
Something fell off. Something. Oh, I thought it was something else. I thought like somebody had fallen off the balcony or something.
It's just a towel.
It was just a towel.
Just chill. Just fell on the balcony.
Yeah, you're under. You're under.
My underwear probably just
flew. My shirt.
My underwear probably just flew off the balcony onto somebody's head.
Well, it'll be their lucky day, won't it?
Yeah. I know.
It's not every day that.
Free pair of knickers. Never happened to me.
Well, it'd be even weirder if they'd returned them. Excuse me, are these yours?
That's what I thought the lady was doing yesterday
returning your underwear
with the cloth on her shoulder. I thought she came to return a cloth that she found fallen down or something.
On her shoulder.
On her shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying
Well, if she
that
had a
all
patch
these
over her eye,
all
a
these
pirate hat,
things all
and a
these
sword, I
things
would have been worried.
work with adults as well, I think, because I know that I have my childish reactions to some things, like what I mentioned before. I do the same thing with you. Have you noticed? When
I don't even know what you're talking about.
when we're talking and you were reproaching me for something, and then you ask me a question that has an obvious answer, and I know you want to hear that answer, and I'm just not saying anything, on purpose, because
You're doing that on purpose.
because it just
Well, could you go to your room, please? You're throwing something around that's making a lot of noise.
it just makes me feel like
If you're going to sit next to us, please, could you please make sure
shut
you
up,
don't
I'm
make any
talking
noise?
here.
I want to listen to you. I can't listen to you because he's waving that thing at Will. Will, I've asked you twice not to do that. If I have to ask you one more time. Please,
Can you put it down?
Please don't do that. If I have to ask you one more time, I'll...
Thank you.
Oh, no, he just threw it away.
So
Look, I'm trying to do the... I'm trying not to do the... Okay, that's it. I'm saying like, okay, level, warning, and then... Did you know... sorry, I'll shut up. Right.
I was
I know what you want to tell
spilling
me.
my heart
I
here
know,
to you.
He was... You can't see or hear what was
Just
going on in
put
the
the
background.
flaps on your eyes like horses have, like this, so you can only see me.
I don't know. I think it's deliberately trying to distract us.
So, I was saying that I still have the same kind of childish reactions to the same situations, because sometimes I feel like I'm put in the same situation like I was when I was a kid, and then it just
You feel like I'm your
comes
mother?
back. Yes, sometimes.
Ooh. Oh my goodness.
When you kind of stand there and you go like, and what did I tell you not to do? Or, something like that. And I'm like, I'm not going to say it. And then you're like, well, okay, just stand there and don't say anything. And you're all offended, and then you go away. And it's just because I don't want to, because it's like, just like, yeah.
How is it?
Like,
Is that a word? Is that a word?
yes. It is.
Oh,
It
okay.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you think that I'm like your mother sometimes?
Yes.
And what would it take for me to not be like your mother sometimes? What do I have to do? Or not do? Or avoid? Or...
Well, first thing, don't cook vegetable soup.
Right, mental note, no vegetable soup. Right.
Um,
Can I eat vegetables?
Sometimes in conversation, in communication, you have that patronizing thing going on.
Oh, I love to patronize.
Yeah, no.
There we go.
It's the coaching. As well. It's the I know better than you know. It's the
I need to take a depatronizing course.
yeah. It's the I know better than you, right?
Anything you can do, I can do better. Anything that I can do is better than you. No,
But
you
it
can't
just
do that,
makes
no, you
me,
can't do that. What?
But just makes me angry.
That was
It might be because you're older.
Angry-looking angry I've ever seen.
That's because I didn't want to punch you.
Again.
It's maybe it's because you're older. Maybe it's because you could be my father.
Fuck you. Do I look like Darth Vader?
Father. No.
Laugh. Evil. Evil.
Sorry, I know that's under the belt.
Join the dark side.
Yeah.
My gosh. What
See,
color
that's
is your lightsaber?
It's all the internal red. That's all the internal anger just bubbling up in this good humored positive.
And then being vomited
Jokingly.
onto me.
Yeah, no.
The fuck is that? Yes, no, Is that an answer? Is that a statement? Is that a question?
No. I'm not feeling any internal anger right now. I'm just making fun of you.
Oh, well, I hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah, but I'm serious in the point that it may be because you're older.
Wait a minute. She's doing it again. I'm not being serious. No, wait a minute.
Okay,
Yes,
I was
am.
joking.
I fucking hate that. I was out for my jog today and I was thinking about that one thing on my jog today. One thing that bugs me more than anything else is somebody saying something like, oh, well, I all of those kinds of people really bug me, but I don't mean you. When people say that, it's such a get out clause, right? Because obviously they do mean that person, but they don't want to offend them, and they don't want them to take it personally. But obviously they do mean that person, right? So that's another thing that people need to stop doing, right? Preachy mode, preachy hat on, right? Right. This is.
I was not.
Preachy hat on. People need to stop doing that. Yes, but I don't mean you. People need to stop that because obviously they do mean.
What I was saying is I was making fun of you when I said you could be my father, because obviously you couldn't, because you would have to.
I'd have to be useless and distant, non-communicative, and.
No, you would have to be 10 years old when I was born.
Okay, well, that's the third time. I'm sorry. I asked you 3 times not to do that. You can do it, but just not here. You can pick it up and go out there. You can do whatever you want out there, but just not in front of me. Not so that I can see it.
So or hear it.
Or hear it, yes.
Or sense it.
Or sense it. Please do it in your room with the door closed. I don't care what you do when you're in the room with the door closed. I don't care.
It's not true. Don't take drugs.
He's deliberately doing that. No.
So
he knows that it bugs me.
Just ignores it.
He knows that it bugs me.
Be the adult and just ignore it.
If you ignore things, they don't just go away.
You don't sweat the small stuff.
I don't like that term.
Yes, I know you don't, because you sweat all the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't be a kid.
Personal management. Right.
So.
Encouragement is hard.
Yes.
Encouragement is hard because.
It's harder than advice. Advice is lazy.
It's a very interesting point. I've never thought about there being levels in that area, and that advice would be one level, but encouragement would actually be a higher level than advice. Mm-hmm. That's pretty powerful stuff, really. Wow.
Because you can
Welcome
do
to the conversation, Gabriella.
You can do advice without any personal connection, right? Mm-hmm. I could just be ironing, and somebody could come to me, and I could just advise them, right? Well, try to use the green pencil instead of the orange, right? And I wouldn't connect with them personally at all. Right? But when you want to encourage someone, right? Then you have to stop what you're doing and you have to connect with them to be able to encourage them, I think.
Yeah, so encouragement shows more connection than advice. Yeah? Is that he's doing it again deliberately? He's deliberately trying to distract me. Well, you've got 3.
No, he
is.
He was hoping you wouldn't notice him.
Of course, I'm going to notice him. What is he, invisible?
Yes.
He's not invisible. We'll stop sneaking around.
Snop.
Snop sneaking. Snub it.
Snop sneaking.
Sure.
Well, snot sneaking.
Army hardy. Snop sneaking and start cleaning. Ship shape. No, we're not doing anymore.
Why?
Because we've done this for an hour and 15 minutes.
It's fun. I like it. Let's do more.
Yes, I'd love to do more. But we have to leave them wanting more, and they'll always come back. Look, he's deliberately trying to do it to distract us now.
Oh no, he's making fun.
Okay, well, no. How am I supposed to do the podcast with him like that? He doesn't understand. Well, it's not fun, right? You've got 3 chances, right, to stop it, and then I'm going to ask you to go and play in your room, please, because you're deliberately distracting us, deliberately, on purpose.
Darling, give us 5 minutes for us to finish, okay?
Okay, you're on the first warning, okay? Please don't do that. I'm asking you. because it's making a problem for me. You don't have to.
And
do
by
it.
that,
You
then
can
he
be-
means
you can be-
sneaking and jumping and.
You can be in any of the rooms in the flat. It's a big flat. You can go anywhere, do anything, but please don't jump around behind the camera. Right. If you're listening on the podcast, then you're not going to understand because you can't.
Even
see
if
the
you're
camera.
watching, you're not gonna understand because it's all happening behind the camera. All that stuff.
All the I'm invisible. It doesn't know that.
All the
It's not him at all, is it?
I'm talking without making any noises because I don't want to distract you. I like that one.
I've lost the plot now. I've completely lost the plot. There was some. Would you stop doing that with the cables, please? You can't stop playing with cables. Ooh, a cable. Can I move it around? Can I shake it? Can I pull it?
Maybe I
Oh.
should get the cable that Will was playing with and just fiddle with it so that I have a cable in my hands.
You've got an MP3 player.
Like a
here.
fidget cable.
Use
The
that.
fidget cable.
Get your fidget cable.
Yeah.
Right. There was a very important point that I wanted to make, and he's disrupted, and I can't remember. No,
No, there wasn't. You just made
was.
it all up.
no, I didn't.
So,
Yes, you did.
are we
No, I
going
didn't.
to...
We're going to conclude. We've
Yeah.
covered 3
Out of-
parenting conditions or emotional reactions that children have that parents need to think
Be
about.
aware
We
of.
covered
Mhm.
when the child intentionally disturbs you, that it's perhaps that you're not being physically affectionate enough. When the child is not telling you the truth, it's probably because you overreacted in the future. Second warning, Will. That's it. I asked you to stop it. That's the second warning. One more, and it's to your room. I'm sorry, mate. I've asked you not to do that because it's really disturbing. You've got a whole choice of 100,000 things you can do, and you're choosing specifically to do the one thing that I've asked you not to do.
You know why? He's
Because
challenging
He's
himself.
jealous. He's jealous of the fact that he wants the attention that we're giving the people out
No,
there.
he's challenging
why.
himself. Now it's a game to see if he can do it without you noticing, without him getting into trouble. That's what he's doing. He's trying to sneak past so sneakily so that you don't notice. Like the game
he's
that
going
he
to.
plays with Milan.
Yeah, but it's going to end up with a volcano erupting. Right, so I mean...
And you don't mean that the soda vinegar kind of volcano.
No, I'm going to lose my temper with him because I've specifically asked him very politely a number of times to do something, and he's specifically chosen to do the opposite of what I've
You know what
asked
you're
him to
doing
do.
right now?
I don't know, winding him up?
No. You are making a conscious excuse for losing it. You are saying, I am going to lose my temper. You're deciding that you're going to lose your temper, but that is not
I am
you
telling
losing
you,
your
look, I
temper.
could have lost my temper already. I'm trying very hard to hold on to it. I'm warning you what's coming if things don't change. I mean, seriously, I
But
could
you
have
can
lost
change
it
it.
the first time.
You can change it. That's the whole point.
I can't change it because I'm stuck here with a cable in front of a monitor and
You
a
can
recorder
change your
doing this
temper.
podcast. I
You
can't
can
go
make
over-
sure that you don't lose your temper.
I explained to him at the beginning. I explained to him at the
You can take
middle.
3 deep breaths.
No, the whole reason that this exists is because I get time to focus on it. This is stopping me from focusing. This is a problem.
I know it's a
Seriously.
problem.
It's a problem because we have to talk about it. You see, this is the proof that it's a problem. The fact that I can't talk more about parenting. I have to solve
Talk
these
about
other
parenting.
I have to talk about these other external issues. It's not parenting. It's just him being annoying
It is
and
parenting.
doing the opposite of what I asked him to do.
It is parenting. It's exactly parenting. There is so much parenting.
Okay, all I wanted to do was review the stuff, and I can't do it because he's doing it again right now.
Yes. So,
Okay, well, that's 2.5.
I can see him.
Okay, you're 2.5. I'm trying to be. See, look, am I?
Yes, you're being very nice and very
Okay.
patient. Very patient.
Would you stop it?
I wanted to
Stop it!
recapitulate
Stop
it
it!
today.
I was. Stop it! Just, my God, what do I have to do today?
Well, get on with it.
That's it. The third part that we covered, the third thing we covered was if the child has poor self. Stop it! If the child has poor self-esteem, it's probably because you advise more than you encourage. I encourage you to do something with this right now. Thank you very much for tuning in. This was almost practical parenting and almost peaceful parenting. If you want more information about what we do, well, that's it. Close your door. That's 3 times. That's enough.
That was parenting reality show.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I asked you specifically not to do that.
It's parenting reality show, people. You've got live parenting going on here behind the scenes.
Putting my entire life on the line doing this. Right. So, if you want more information about what we do or what we don't do, the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching on YouTube and Facebook. It's www.nsa-slovakia.com. This is
the 21st Century Mum, spelled MUM.com. And I'm very proud of you. You're being very patient.
Why, thank you very much. I'm now going to panic extremely because I've got to run through the other room and set up my system for my next coaching session. So,
yes. You're going to panic while eating your lunch frantically.
Oh, food! Almost forgot about food.
Food is out there.
I very much enjoyed the discussion today. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for being here. And if you find this if people find this on the internet, please share it. We appreciate it. Give us a heart, like, thumbs up, and all the usual stuff. Wherever you are, we wish you a wonderful day. And we will speak to you soon, and I will try to find out how to shut down the system here.
Laters, babies.
Ta-ta, TTFN. Ta-ta for now. Bye-bye. Say bye.
Bye. TTFN.
That's I keep wanting to say trigger, but it's Tigger, right?
It's Tigger.
Tigger.
Yeah.
Okay.